Excuse me, miss. The other night you took something that doesn't belong to you. Stealing's not polite.
Is it stealing if you steal from another thief?
Who are you?
Someone interested in the same man you are.
Is that right?
The data you copied is military-grade encryption.
You know, I bet with that dress, 9 out of 10 men would let you get away with anything.
But you're the 10th.
I'm guessing I'm the first. I see through that babe in the woods act. You don't know me, but I've known a few women like you.
Oh, I don't think you've ever known a woman like me.
And that's a clip from Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. Ben Affleck is Batman. Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, hi.
How are you?
Excellent.
Very good. And you're color coordinated. Is that part of is it like a wardrobe thing that you all come in?
Always.
I just want to be just like her in every way.
You want to be Wonder Woman?
I want to be like Gal. She's my hero.
Tell us, between you, what you can of this story which it unfolds. And when I saw it, there's a little brief film from Zack Snyder saying, please don't give anything away. So obviously it would be wrong for us to do that. So with all those limitations, what can you tell us about this story?
Well, it's about, I guess we can tell you that it takes place sort of towards the end of, the beginning of our movie is at the end of Man of Steel when Superman is fighting the supervillain and they're causing all this destruction in the city, and one of the buildings that they destroy is Bruce Wayne's building, and my character is, traumatized by the fact that people who he cares about die in that building, and develops this obsession and hatred for Superman and sets Batman and Superman on a course for at one another. It's a lot of story, and it's very complicated, but what happens is that ultimately, in the meantime, people begin to suspect that there may be other Lex Luthor begins to suspect that there may be other meta-humans besides just Superman in the world, and so a search begins for them, and one of the people who's suspected of being a meta-human is this character named Diana Prince, who's sitting to my right. Yes. And then the story goes on, and it's very good, and it's complicated, and it's wonderful, and you'll have to pay your money to.
Good. Well, that's a very good sell. So you've told us everything, I think, without telling us
that's
too much,
thing.
Gal.
You think he said everything, but he didn't. There's so much to look for.
What should he have said?
Well, the end. No, not really. But I think that Zack Snyder, our magnificent director, done this fantastic job on this movie. This is such a huge movie. It's a major story. I mean, bringing Batman's world and Superman's world together into one film, and also set the ground for so many more characters to come in such an interesting, surprising way is a craft, and he nailed it.
So at the beginning, so just at that bit which Ben was explaining about the end of the Superman movie and the destruction of your tower, and so where is Wonder? What's she doing at this time? Where do you at the beginning of the movie? Where are you? What do we need to know about where you are?
Well, purposefully, we don't say anything about her. She's very mysterious. In this movie is Batman versus Superman. It's all about Batman and Superman. We get a glimpse on who Wonder Woman is. We don't really tell where is she from, what's her story.
She's from the Amazon, isn't
what?
she? She's from the Amazon. She's a
from
princess.
Themyscira.
Yeah.
You have to go see. There's a whole standalone Wonder Woman movie that's being
being
finished filmed. So if you want the whole Wonder Woman backstory, you have to go see that movie.
Exactly.
Which will be out.
But the proper title for this movie should be Batman vs. Superman with a bit of help from Wonder Woman.
With the best part being Wonder Woman at the end. It should be.
Two guys having a fight, then the lady arrives and she saves the day. Right?
That's right. That's true.
It's taken, I think I'm right, 70, 75 years for Wonder Woman to make it onto the big screen, which seems extraordinary.
Yes, and it's about time that we're going to tell her story, and I'm very, very grateful and thankful to be the one who's going to tell her amazing story.
Your Batman, Ben, is pretty hacked off and tired. Just explain what it was about this particular incarnation of Batman which made you think, I want to do that.
Well, there were a lot of reasons not to. Chief among them being how well it's been done before. Christopher Nolan brilliant, directed Christian Bale, who's one of our generation's greatest actors, in 3 great films before. And, of course, before that, George Clooney, Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer had all done great versions.
I think George Clooney says he nearly killed the franchise, but anyway, that's
I think Ben's the best.
Frank Miller did a comic book called The Dark Knight Returns, and Zach, when he approached me, said he wanted to base this Batman on that. And that is a very different kind of Batman. Frank Miller sort of turned it on its head, and he had him as an aging, broken, cynical, jaded sort of Batman having an existential crisis. A sort of he wanted a prize fighter in the 12th round of his last fight. Not over the edge necessarily, but right up to the edge, and someone who is increasingly feeling as though the ends would justify the means, and so he's maybe making choices that were morally questionable. And
so you're a bad guy?
That question is raised. The idea of the ends justifying the means, the idea of the sort of the moral analogy to kind of stop and frisk or something. If you're in the United States, like, is it how far is it okay to go to stop crime? And he's pushed that boundary very far. And when Superman shows up and he becomes obsessed with him and filled with rage and projects all of his anger and frustration onto him, we wonder if he's lost it a little bit. And that was such a different Batman and an exciting one, and one with such a rich vein to mine that I was thrilled to do it.
Because I grew up watching the TV series, where the Batman was obviously very different to your Batman. So a lot of people will look at the poster, maybe if they're not immersed in the DC world, and think, hang on, they should be on the same side. They're on the side of truth, right, in the American way, aren't they?
Well, that's just the idea. Is a lot of storytelling goes into getting you to understand why they end up on opposite sides. And what's complicated and I think interesting about the movie and rich is that you're meant to be able to sort of identify with both of them. Yes, they're both heroes, and yes, they're supposed to both be doing good. And the fact is that two people can both think they're doing the right thing and find themselves on opposite sides of the same issue, and so it's a little bit more complicated than just white hats and black hats.
And to everyone who says it's not really going to be a fair fight, is it because Superman could just punch Batman into space?
Well, if you just started out with us, running at one another and ring the bell and they start fighting, yes, it wouldn't be a fair fight. But again, there's a lot of storytelling where Batman uses his wits, because he's a smart guy, to create a situation where it is in fact a fair fight and kind of an interesting one.
Gal, what's it like to be in a movie with Wonder Woman to come, where every trailer, every rumor, every story that comes out of the set is jumped on, and with social media, obviously people are looking at it the whole time and just want to talk about it? It must be
great.
It's great. Yeah.
No, there's such an anticipation for these characters and these stories, and it feels great to be a part of that. And these movies are so successful because of the fans, and the fact that the fans are so thrilled about any piece of information just makes everything more worth it. I enjoy the fact that everything is confidential. I enjoy the fact that we keep everything to ourselves, so we try to give the audience, the opportunity to really have a full experience of the movie and be surprised by it, and it feels fantastic.
And Ben, last time you were on the program, we were talking about your Oscar-winning movie and how you directed it and the whole extraordinary story there. And I wonder, having been such a successful director, does that make you an easier actor to direct? Do you look at Zack Snyder and think, I know exactly what you're thinking? And do you bend to his will more easily?
I think it does. I've definitely, as a director, I figured out that the key to acting is to follow the director's vision as closely as possible and try to, line your ship up on the same course, because that's where the ship is going. And as an actor, if you start off on your own path, you're going to end up in the wilderness. And I just wanted to, Chris Terrio, who wrote Argo, wrote this movie, and he did, I think, a brilliant job. And Zach is just as good as anyone in telling stories visually, graphically. And so I just wanted to get on board with where they wanted to go, and give myself over to their vision and their story, and I think that's the smartest thing you can do. And I'm really happy with where we ended up.
And is Chris Terrio writing Justice League as well?
Yes, he's written it.
And is that one of the reasons why you felt quite happy to be Batman? Is 'cause
Exactly.
you felt very happy.
I
with
felt
where
very
that was
safe
going.
with that. I knew that the writing would be excellent.
We had Sienna Miller on the show last week, and we were talking a little bit about the movie that you are directing. How does that work in the chronology? Is that what you have finished? When do we see
I
it?
just finished, working with Sienna. She's magnificent in the movie. She's a really great actress. She's great in my movie. I'll finish editing that movie. We shot it. I'm editing it now. In fact, this is what I'm doing instead of being in the editing room, which is where I should be. And
I'm very sorry to keep you.
That's all right. And I'll finish editing that and then go off and do Justice League and come here. In fact, we'll shoot Justice League here in London or in Leavesden. And if I'm not totally finished editing, then I'll bring the editorial out here and I'll cut it while we're doing Justice League. While she's shooting her scenes, I'll be editing my movie.
It's amazing you have any time to talk to us at all. Because
I don't really, but
okay, all right. And
Just don't sleep.
And would you fancy directing a Batman movie in the future?
if the script was good, if it was,
Let's say Chris Terrio is going to write it.
then I'd be all on board.
Gal, so and Wonder Woman is coming next. So your part in this franchise, you're there for the foreseeable future. When do we get that movie?
Wonder Woman would be out in June 23rd, 2017.
Okay. Can you be more precise than that? No.
No, yes, it would be 8 a.m. No,
Okay. Do you have a lasso of justice?
I do. Yeah,
Do you have a tiara that has special powers? And
I wear a tiara.
okay, these are all very important. These are all very important things. Ben and Gal, we appreciate, and obviously you've had no time to talk to us at all, but thank you. And I'll let you go back to the editing, Ben, because obviously you have other stuff to do. But Gal and Ben, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.